Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. So I'm doing something a little different now, kind of experimenting. And boy, look at this. I got to shave here. I promised Madeline that I'll shave tomorrow. So I told her, I go, my winter beard. And Madeline says, Mike, it's still summer. September 23rd is when it turns into fall. So I am using my phone. I'm just holding it here. And I usually use my iPad, and my iPad's juicing up and it's inside. I said, you know what? Let me just do this one with my phone. So, by the way, how do you like I'm aiming the phone here. Can you see that? Oh, my desk is such a mess here, but this is my workspace. Can you see that? So it's really awesome. So, but I guess in a month or two, I'm going to have to go inside. I'm building a library downstairs, and Madeline has her art studio there, and we're going to be doing, I'll be doing my video recordings, podcasts down there. I was thinking about building a studio, audio and all that, video, the whole thing. But you know what? You only need a phone and an iPad, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this thing works out for me. So right now I'm listening to Joe Rogan podcast. I just finished listening to the Black Keys. Oh my God, how fun was that? How awesome are the Black Keys? I had never heard of them until this podcast. And, it's just the guitar player and guitars. He played. No, I'm sorry. What am I saying? He's a guitarist and vocalist. What's his name? Dan, and then Pat is the drummer, and that's it. It's so fun. So, okay. So now I'm listening to an MMA episode, and they have Vinny Shurman, who's an awesome guy, and then Liam Harrison, who's a Thai boxer. So I wanted to talk about today talk about fighting. Like I have a friend who is a fanatical sports fan, and his favorite sport is football. He likes baseball and basketball, especially college basketball. He's really huge. He always watches the tournament. But his big thing is the Giants and football. And I've talked to him, and I said, you know what? Fighting. Not even close. And he's doesn't seem to be that interested in fighting in UFC, and I really don't understand it. I don't think there's any comparison. Like even when I was a kid, before UFC, boxing, I grew up with really Muhammad Ali. And back in the 70s was after, Ali was banned and came back. So Ali was never the same, but still I saw that. And then the 70s, the heavyweight division was incredible, right? You had Ali and Joe Frazier, and all the three Frazier fights were just phenomenal, right? So Ali, Joe Frazier, and Ken Norton, and George Foreman, on and on, Ron Lyle, and Weaver, and then characters like Wepner. I mean, this was just the best, right? So, and then wasn't Spinks upset Ali, right? This was Leon Spinks, not Michael. Michael fought Tyson in that one fight, right? In that 90-second fight. So anyway, I like to think of, I'm not even showing my face here, so you could take a look. All right. I actually don't look so good, so maybe it's better that you don't see my face. So I was thinking about, UFC. I mean, I can watch fights 4, 5, 6 hours, one after the other. I just love it all. And it's not just like I said, boxing, but I love it all. I love jiu-jitsu, wrestling, collegiate wrestling. It's just, there is absolutely nothing like it. And it's sure, there are some fights that are not as good as others, but I'm telling you, what's so interesting about a fight is I'll watch anything, even if it's well, I don't like street fights, but it's compelling. Which leads to like the analogy of what's the greatest sport. And I've talked about this before, but this was back, I think, in the early 2000s when Renzo Gracie was promoting UFC, right? Very controversial at the time. I think he was on 60 Minutes, in fact. Was it, yeah, Renzo and I think Dana White. And they were talking about, like, what is it? Like this combat sport. And Renzo says, well, without question, it's the most compelling sport there is, right? It's high level problem solving with extreme physical consequences. I think Joe Rogan states it that way. And I'm not sure if I'm butchering that. It's high level problem solving with dire physical consequences. There you go. High level problem solving with dire physical consequences. That makes sense. Okay. So it's basically life and death. You could die. You could die in any sport for sure, but this is brutal. They're basically, when that bell rings, there you go. You're trying to, in a sense, it's a sport, and no one wants to literally kill and maim someone, but that's your job. You want to take someone's head off. You definitely want to maim someone, right? So, anyway, okay, going back to the analogy with Renzo Gracie. Renzo goes, like, what is it? And he goes, I'll tell you what. And with his accent, I won't do the accent, but Renzo goes, you go to a park, your park, and it's big. It's kind of like, not quite as big as Central Park, but a nice sizable park. And one area of the park, there's a baseball game, right? The other area of the park, you can walk over, there's a soccer game. You can watch a soccer game. And then the other, you have a bunch of basketball courts, right? Another area yet, there's tennis courts, How about volleyball? Throw that in. One corner of the park there, a fight breaks out. There's a fight. What do you think people are going to watch? Right? Even a street fight, a non-technical thing. People are just, there's something about it. I think it's part of the human condition. There's just something so fascinating with fighting. And I've said this over and over, I am so drawn to fighting. Like, I'm interested, not so much the violence, but the technical aspect of it, right? So, but even a shitty street fight, it's something compelling. Now, again, I am drawn to it and I'm repulsed by it. And I don't like street fights at all. I'm basically, it's a weird kind of irony that I am a pacifist. I am a progressive liberal and I hate violence. I like violence in movies and in sport, but in real life, I don't like it. Does that make sense? Okay. So anyway, it's just, let me just go back. I'll end it here. I'm a little over 8 minutes, but, fighting is high-level problem solving with dire physical consequences. Hey, I got that down. And when you think about when you think about jiu-jitsu or boxing, the number of moves is literally almost infinite. Okay, so I remember going back to Renzo. Renzo used to say jiu-jitsu, right? So he would say, like, okay, it's physical chess. It's chess with your body, right? So Renzo goes, I may do a move. Let's just say I pass guard and get side control and go for a Kimura. Okay, move. That's multiple moves, actually. But let's say I move, you move. I move. Let's say, take that example. I pass. Let's take that example. I'm in guard. I'm in your guard. I pass guard. Gain side control. Your move. You block so that you block it. You put your knee up so that your opponent doesn't get mount. Your turn. I go for let's say a Kimura. I block the Kimura. I back to you. I do this. It's not actually like sequential like that. There's multiple things going on. But Renzo goes, I go, you go, I go, you go, and this goes on forever. Really, that's the way the game jiu-jitsu is. And then when you add jiu-jitsu and then striking and boxing and all this going on, it's just the greatest sport in the world. So, and okay, let me end with this. When I watch a fight, there are three things that I'm looking for. Okay, there's violence. Violence in sport. I'd be a liar to say that I don't like it. Of course I like it. That's the least important thing. Okay, so there's violence. Many fight fans just go for the violence. Okay, so the violence, yeah, of course. Number two, the drama, the buildup of two guys fighting, putting it all on the line, and then even the buildup, right? So what's going on with UFC today? The big fight is Jorge Masvidal, right, and Nate Diaz. Woo, exciting as hell. And then the last part, what interests me the most, because I'm a martial artist myself, is the technical aspect. So, right, you have violence, drama, technical skill. So, okay, I'll end it at that. I'm talking about fighting and mixed martial arts and all that, and yet I'm a peaceful, loving guy. A snowflake, if you will. People call me Snowflake. How about that? Okay, good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. I'm not even going to show my face because I need a shave. So I'll just hold my hands out. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk.